Welcome back to another TradeOut's technical analysis. In this video, we're going to be covering Vechain. We're going to take a look at recent price action and see if there's any interesting trade setups on the horizon. Let's get to the charts. So before I get started on Vechain, I just have a real quick announcement to make. For those of you who are in Discord, or haven't joined Discord yet, might be interested. We had some scammer activity yesterday. I had to come in and actually install this bot here, Carl bot. It's a verification bot that helps, minimize that kind of activity. But anyway, if you notice that you lost your access and all you see is this verify channel here, right here, all you need to do is click on verify. And you're going to come to Carlbot here, and all you have to do is click this check mark. So once you click this check mark, it will reopen all of these rooms for you. And if you're new to if you're new and you haven't joined Discord yet, you have to do this step just to verify that you're not a bot, and then it will open up all of these channels for you. So you'll get your access to Discord. And but again, if you're not in Discord, definitely join. I do give out key levels throughout the day. Quite often, actually. Talk about some things. Here I talked about, I actually sold a position that I've been in for quite a while, and here's a good one actually. So here you can see at 427, I actually shared this chart. It's kind of messy, but I was just showing the group that we came down to our golden pocket here, which are 618 and the 66, when this happens to be right on this very key, very big support level. So this is the overall range value area low, very critical level that I talk about all throughout the day in Discord. And you can see an hour later what happened. We literally came down to almost the exact dollar, tagged your overall range value area low, and price got a really nice bounce. And it is still, and this is, 4 hours ago, this is still the bottom. So this, really good level, really good information being shared in Discord. If you're not in here, feel free to come check us out, but that's enough about that. So let's get into Vechain. All right, so here we are on the, this is the daily time frame. And you can kind of see like this key level here that I drew out here. This has been massive resistance so far. Price has tried many times to push above it, and it gets rejected every time. So there's obviously some, there's this level, this area, and I'll highlight it for you, is being defended big time. So there's a lot of sells, definitely a lot of sell activity around here. So I'll highlight this box. This really is your immediate resistance, and if this is able to be reclaimed, you can obviously look for much higher prices, very likely. And then to the downside, I'll actually turn on Ichimoku real quick, just to kind of show you that we've been, it's this Kijun area that's really been your support. You had a really nice SR test here, like a really good test to make, really good test right here. So you had price come up, massive resistance up here, got a retracement right down to this daily level. I mean, perfect retest of your daily level right here, before getting another really nice bounce, coming out to your key level, heavy resistance again, and being rejected. So, this is obviously your big, massive resistance. We turn on your pivots, see if anything else lines up. So again, R4 yearly pivot, general area, resistance. R3 is acting, it's kind of like a support here, but you lose it, reclaim it. R2, very close to where these bottoms are. If I go on to a monthly time frame, see if anything else lines up. Since we just got our new monthly pivots a couple days ago, you can see here, so our new monthlies came on March 1st, obviously. So you had your March 1st close here, and on the very next day, you back tested your brand new monthly pivot and had a nice bounce off of that. So that's nice to see that working. And obviously your R1 monthly pivot is sitting right here at the top of this heavy resistance. So this is a very critical area. To the downside, where would your support be? I would have it something like this. which also is nice because you have Ichimoku here. Let me actually change the color. So you have, you have your Kijun that's kind of sitting at the top of the support. You have your daily level, which was perfect, was tested here. So that's obviously support. And then, as you move forward, so March 14th, you're going to cross over the top of this Kumo here, the top of this cloud. So, in a couple of weeks, you'll start to be able to have this Kumo as your support as well. So I really like this area. So, currently, like looking at where price is sitting, we're literally right in between these two zones. So for me, this is a no trade zone. Like, I'm not interested in taking a trade right here because I would rather be taking trades. For me, like a better setup would be either taking a trade off of here, which would be a short trade, or taking a long trade, which is more like I would prefer to take a long trade, just because you look at the overall trend, right? Very bullish. So, and obviously, like the more times that this level is tested, likely the weaker it gets, and you would expect this to push through at some point if it continues to be tested. But for now, again, we're sitting kind of in the middle of this range, and I'll actually break it down for you even more. So let me turn Ichimoku off and kind of show you like how I'll show you some important levels here within this price action. If you go down to something like an hourly, might be too much. That's too much. There we go. 4-hour time frame. I'm going to pull my fixed range, start at the top of the range here, all the way over, just to kind of see where some other things line up. So I'm going to mark off right here, which is your value area high. This is your point of control. Value area low. Go ahead and delete this. So you can use these levels. So this is taking literally this piece of price action that you're seeing right here, right? So from the top, you got your impulse move up, and then kind of things start going sideways from here. So these, again, your value area high, big time resistance. You look, it lines up perfectly, right? A lot of these the candle wick highs here. So this just adds to the confluence that, this region is a huge resistance at the moment. Your point of control, you're currently below. So this is a really big resistance as well. And you're currently close to your value area low. So, you could, if you were wanting to trade on lower time frames, or you're wanting to maybe do a little bit of scalping, technically the value area low does offer kind of usually offers a pretty nice trade if you can find some other forms of confluence that could maybe give you, for a long. So like what I would do is let's take a fib, see if anything lines up. Your 0.5 fib lines up pretty perfectly with your value area low. Ideally, that's nice confluence. I would rather see like if a golden pocket lined up with the value area low, I would take that trade all day long. But 0.5 fib lines up right around here. You could turn on maybe your VWAP, see where that lines up. Session VWAP, it's not very helpful on that. You see you're below it, obviously. But like if you're on like a 5-minute, like for instance, you could see like how your session VWAP are really clean. If you look at this is pretty clean. You got your move above your VWAP, back test it, support, push off, support, push off, perfect retest before you lose it. And now you back test it as resistance. I mean, so this is why VWAP is such a powerful tool. And I use it heavily like when I'm scalping a lot of times. But again, this is very clean levels right off of your VWAP. So I'm kind of glad I looked at that. But anyway, back to your 4-hour. Value area low, you take it level by level. If I was to take a long here, which I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't. That's just me though, not financial advice, but I wouldn't really take a trade off of there without at least doing a bunch more analysis to see if anything else lines up here. But it doesn't look likely that this is something that I would want to take a trade on, because again, when you're dealing with altcoins, they're going to be really closely tied to what Bitcoin is doing, and currently Bitcoin's pretty weak. So, we are kind of like I would say that we're like close to a support level. You know, that trade that I showed you in the Discord, that was a really good trade to take the first time, right? But if we come back to retest those levels, I don't know if they're, I don't really think they're going to hold up. I think, you know, 46K, maybe 46,000, 46,100, something like that, could be a decent level. But that would probably bring Vechain down. So, you know, for me, I wouldn't be really interested in taking a trade here myself. But, you know, if this level is lost, though, and kind of why this is important, if you lose your value area low, I would think price is going to come back down to test this green zone, which for me is that's a better risk reward opportunity because I know where I'm wrong, right? So that's kind of like how I break down. So not only how I break down my support and resistance, but also you see from this range that we're forming here, okay? That's how I get my range levels. So my range value area low, point of control value area high. Like this is how I would trade this range. So a loss of this value area low would be pretty bad. I would look for it to return down, probably to near the lows here, maybe the top of this green box, down to your daily. But you know, if it was to bounce off of this value area low, then I look to point of control. Point of control is reclaimed, then I look to my value area high. That's kind of how I would trade this. So go back out to a daily, just to kind of show you again, like what could happen. And I wouldn't be too surprised is if we kind of just put in some time sideways, just like we did here. So you see, like we kind of got our impulse move up, right? Got a nice move up, and we spent some time. You know, if we measure this out, I mean, you spent a month, 33 days, kind of playing the sideways game before you got your really big impulsive move out. It wouldn't surprise me, especially if Bitcoin kind of continues to do its thing, doesn't make any extreme moves. It wouldn't surprise me if Vechain did kind of a similar play where maybe you get another test down here and you get kind of this sideways price action before maybe it breaks finally, you know, comes up through your level, back test, and continues higher, something like that. You get another impulsive move. But, it, you know, again, taking a trade right here when you're literally in the middle between your support and your resistance, this isn't really that great, you know, risk reward. Like me personally, I would rather wait until you're either at the top or the bottom, just because it offers a better risk reward, in my opinion. So but again, that's kind of what could happen. And that's something that I have in mind. So again, like, you know, if I'm trading this pair, so VET USDT, if I'm trading this, for me, I'm being patient, and I would rather wait until price, you know, comes up here. Maybe you take a short, or, you know, maybe you hope price does one of these, you know, maybe price kind of bounces, comes up here, maybe it breaks through, starts pushing up, back test, something like that, and you get your move higher. Like taking a trade up here, you know, I'm not big on breakout trades, but I think that if you did get above here and it wasn't just a wick, like if you're able, you know, you had a close up here, a daily close or something like that up here, I think that would have a lot more potential in my mind. And if I went down to maybe a 4 hour, you know, you can kind of see where the closes are. So maybe you can see it's around 5.7 cents. If you got a 4 hour close above that, maybe that might be an initial sign that you could push higher. I probably wouldn't myself though. Like I wouldn't take that signal. I would rather see at least your value area high for sure, or your R1 pivot. Like if you got a close above here, then I would feel a little bit more confident that, you know, this could be an actual push out of here. But yeah, so back out to the daily just to do a real quick recap. Turn on your Ichimoku because I really like Ichimoku. And it's done a pretty nice job for you on this move up. So, you know, where we currently, well, you're sitting really close to the value area low of this range right here. So this value area low should be somewhat of a support. I wouldn't say it's a major support, but it's definitely a support. If this is lost, I would look for a rotation, you know, back down somewhere to test your Kijun, this yellow Kijun here, or somewhere within this box. if this is lost though. So like, especially if you take out this February 23rd low here, then it gets a little questionable. And, you know, as far as there is a weekly level here, I think you probably get a bounce off of here, but really, you know, and again, this kind of ties back into what Bitcoin's doing, right? And really the stock market. Stock market hasn't been very hot lately. They're all correlated to a degree. But if you lose this region, you know, you play it level by level. Would I expect the reaction here at this weekly at 3 cents? Yes, especially because it's at 3 cents. So it's kind of like a psychological level, right? But I really would I would have to really think about this. Like, I don't know if I wouldn't have me personally, not financial advice. I wouldn't have bids sitting here. I would rather wait for a reaction to see if I get one. That way it helps give me kind of an invalidation, right? So if you got a wick that kind of touches your weekly or goes a little bit below, at least you could use that potentially as your stop loss, right? Or as your invalidation. So I wouldn't have bids sitting here. But if price managed to come all the way down here to this weekly sitting just above 2.5 cents, that would be really interesting for me. I would be very interested in a trade because you know, without doing a whole ton of analysis, I can tell you right now, like, so you have your weekly level here, you have the top of your daily Kumo here, you know, and obviously this is assuming, you know, if this would have to drop within the next week, basically. So like, you're not giving yourself much time, right? But this is just something to be aware of. And then maybe if I took, you know, let's see if anything lines up. So this swing low down here to swing high. Okay, well, that changes my mind a little bit, actually. So which is why I'm glad I do this. But so right here, this is a pretty big level. So this is your golden pocket from your literal swing, like very low before you got this big move up, which is a very big move up. I think it was like almost 500%, something like that. But this is literally taking a fib retracement from the low at almost a penny all the way up to the current all-time high. So, and this is like, this for me, this actually is a trade like that I take almost like 100 out of 100 times. Like I changed, you know, I kind of changed my mind a bit. But your golden pocket lines up very nicely with your weekly level here. So you can see if I delete this again, just so you can see, here's your weekly level, here's your golden pocket. Sits right with that. So I really like that. This is very likely, this is likely going to be very strong initial support. So it wouldn't surprise me, you know, if we did break this level, I would look to have this level tested next. And very likely, I think you get a nice initial reaction off of it. At least it's probably worthy of a look for a trade. So I'm actually going to put an alert here. GP coming up one day. No, I don't need to put that. All right. So I did put an alert there because I would be really interested if this did come down. And like, this is another, you know, for those of you who've been watching my trading videos now, I mean, my trading channel is only about a month old, but you can like, I really like to have multiple forms of confluence before I think a level, you know, I like to back up levels essentially. And what I mean by that is like, if I just have a single level on a chart like this weekly here, you know, like what else is there around that level that could give that strength, right? Like additional strength. Maybe there's other confluences. And so for this weekly, you have your cloud daily Kumo right here. This is very important support for me. So that is why I was initially kind of drawn to this area. But doing, you know, one of my favorite, using one of my favorite tools, the Fibonacci retracement. Once I took that, it highlighted to me that this weekly was actually one that I would be very interested in because it lines up perfectly with my golden pocket, my 618 to 0.66 retracement. So it's kind of this zone right here. Again, there should be very strong support, I would say, in this region. So anyway, that was kind of a lot, obviously. I'm just going to do a very, very quick overview one more time, just so I'm ultra clear. Value area low, very local support. If this is lost, I would look for this green box to be retested. And I wouldn't be surprised if you got another bounce off here and this range just continued, right? It's kind of like what I was talking about. I would not be surprised to kind of see this play out again before price either, made a decision either way. If this local support, or this is, well, if this, support box, the support zone here is lost, I would look for this golden pocket weekly level to be tested, and I would, have an alert set there. So do what you want with that information, but I would be interested in this zone. Now to the upside, you have your clear cut resistance, this key level here, massive resistance. You have your wicks up to your value area high. This red box is obvious resistance if this is reclaimed, meaning you got to close above, let's say you got a daily close above 6 cents. Honestly, as long as it's over, if you got a daily close above 6 cents, I'd say it's good enough. And you're likely to continue, if I would take a quick, if I were to take kind of a quick glance, see if anything else lines up. I mean, just initially, even looking at your monthly pivots here, I would look to somewhere around R2. And, I could do some other analysis to see, but I would look for a move probably to somewhere around 8 cents or so. But that's it. That's Vechain. Just wanted to kind of break down the chart for you. Thought it was interesting. If you could leave a comment in the video, tell me what you thought. Make sure to like and subscribe. Again, there will be an invitation to my Discord below. We share a lot of really great technical analysis. It's a really fun group of people to be in. And obviously, if you lost access because of the settings changes that I had to do, go to your verify and click the little check mark and you'll get full access back. But anyway, hope you have a killer night. Trade safe out there.